Hi everyone! Today I want to talk to you guys about why we fail, or more accurately, why we struggle to succeed. So, before I get into it, I want to start by demystifying this idea of failure. I think we have a really incorrect perception of failure in that we can't, right? I think a lot of us are taught to be perfect, to get 100%, to get the A or the A plus on our grades, to not fall off our bikes. But in all of my years of product development, it has definitely taught me this, and that is you have to have many, many rounds of prototypes before you can get to the ideal product. And this applies to almost everything else in life and to all of your goals. You have to be able to fail, to be able to learn from those mistakes, to then improve. If you don't fail, you're probably not going to be able to test those boundaries and make something exceptional. So that's just demystifying the philosophy of failure, and I hope everybody can start seeing failure as not succeeding, but more as your proto 1 or your proto 2 or just versions of trials. And if you see it that way, then it becomes unlimited. You can try as many times, you can have infinite prototypes, and you can even reiterate on something that you thought was a success. So there's really 3 reasons why you would be failing, for lack of a better word. 1, you're not a to-do list, all right? We are not lists of things that need to be checked off. That is not the way our brain functions. That is not the way that we are wired. You can't just expect to check off things off a list and say that you're a success, right? Success is a very subjective feeling. It's a very subjective thing. And whether that is something, relative to your health or professional life or even mental health, wellness, you're not a to-do list. It's super important to disassociate from that. And you have to be able to look at yourself more holistically than to just say, I'm, these things that have to be checked off. 2, the second reason why we often fail is that our brain is actually really lazy. We're wired to conserve energy. We are wired to take the easy way out. Our brains create these, let's call them highways of habits, behaviors, thought patterns, so on and so forth, based on experience and what we learn and what we're exposed to in the world. And so your brain will always try to take the easiest route. So this is really, really tough when you're trying to break a habit or when you're trying to change something in your life. So for instance, if you always wake up at 7 a.m. and then right away brush your teeth and make a cup of coffee, and you've been doing that for years and years, well, I don't know if you've ever heard the term, but neurons that fire together wire together. So that means you start to do that more and more intuitively and instinctively. You don't even think about it, right? Now imagine if you suddenly decide to change that. Wake up in the morning, exercise, then meditate, and then brush your teeth, coffee, so on and so forth. For you to start making that change, you have to unwire a lot of neurons. So that's why it's really, really hard. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just means that your brain is not necessarily set up to help you succeed when it comes to changing existing behaviors and habits. Number 3, your brain loves happy hormones, and that means it is an absolute addict for dopamine. So your brain doesn't know the difference between the sources of dopamine. It just knows, I'm getting dopamine, I want more. So you need to start engaging your prefrontal cortex or your conscious mind to really disassociate just dopamine and doing things that are good for you. Your brain will tend to always reach for that extra cracker, that chocolate chip cookie, those extra 5 minutes in bed, anything that gives you a little extra dopamine hit, your brain will just try to reach for it. And the more you do it, we talked about number 2, which is neurons that fire together, wire together, the more it'll go to it faster. So those are really the three reasons that we tend to fail. So how can you actually succeed at things? I made it just sound like it's impossible to succeed. That's not true. You can make change. Everybody in the world can change. Everybody can improve their life, can evolve their lifestyle, and everyone can do better. So how do you do it? These are my 5 steps to make sure that when I set a goal, I am putting myself on a path of success, or I put at least all the odds towards me. So the first one is try to evolve your existing skills and your existing behaviors. So instead of trying to do something cold turkey or to go 180, try to change little by little something that's pre-existing. So for instance, if you've never taken walks before and you want to start a 10,000 steps a day challenge, going from maybe not 0, but like 2 or 3,000 to 10,000 is not super easy. However, going from 2,000 to 2,500 steps, that's definitely feasible. So evolve your current behaviors and your current habits instead of trying to change completely. When it comes to food, for example, if you're not big on greens, don't try to eat a bowl of salad right away. You're not going to enjoy that. Instead, you could probably start integrating certain foods. So instead of eliminating your entire current meal, maybe add some greens to your existing meal. Don't take anything out, just add. So those are little tips and tricks of how to evolve. 2, you need to identify what are your roadblocks. Of the times that you have tried to achieve whatever goal, what got in your way? What are the things that stopped you? What are the things that distracted you? Identify those things, and as much as possible, try to prevent those roadblocks. Most of the time, we can identify what some of those roadblocks are, right? Snoozing an extra 5 minutes before bed. Well, what are some ways that you can do that are easy to actually get you out of bed? Is there something that is exciting for you to look forward to in the morning? Maybe it's your morning meditation. Maybe it's the breakfast. Maybe make your breakfast super exciting so you're excited to get out of bed. Whatever works for you. 3, do things that you enjoy. I cannot emphasize this enough. There's so many of us who try to take on habits because we hear that other people are doing it, so we think that we have to do it too. Well, no. Like, if I don't like jogging, I'm just not gonna jog. I'm sorry. But I really love walking. I could walk forever. So I do that instead. Do things that you enjoy. Find something that brings pleasure to you. It'll make it so much more easy to stick to those new habits. 4, understanding that change takes time. The social media, television shows, reality TV, even socialization with your friends, all of those interactions make it feel like things happen overnight. Nobody lives in anybody else's skin besides their own, which means you only get visibility to other people's milestones as they happen. You don't get to see the progress. You don't get to see the journey, and you don't see every single incremental thing that they did. Things take time. You cannot expect to go from A to Z overnight. You have to go through every single letter of the alphabet. So be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself. And this leads me into number 5, which is consistency is key. All right. It's not so important that you do 10,000 steps a day, but it's really important that you get, maybe 2, 3, 5,000 a day. And if you can't get 5,000 a day, that you just go, around the block one time. It's not so crucial that you're eating 20 different plants every single day, but it is important to incorporate a number of whole plants throughout your diet throughout the entire week. So consistency is key, but make sure to be patient with yourself, because again, the last 2, they kind of go hand in hand. Time and consistency equals success. So that's kind of my roundup of why we fail and some of my tips on how to ensure success towards whatever goal you set up for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on, what it is that you do to ensure your success. What are the things that you think contribute to failure? And what are your thoughts on failure? I'd love to know. So please subscribe. I update or upload a new video every single Friday, and I hope to see you very, very soon.